Welcome back, friend. आज का ब्रेकफास्ट पसंद आया सबको? फ्रेंड्स, ऑडिट का सेशन अभी खत्म हो गया, लेकिन ऑडिट के पहले की जो तैयारियां हैं वो क्या करनी होती है? बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स कंप्लीट करने होते हैं। तो विदाउट बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट वन कैन नॉट डू ऑडिट वर्क, एंड इन द न्यू era of accounting there are various types of tools which provide accounting package. Our oldest and popular tool is Tally, and I think everyone is using Tally, if I am right. Most of, other than big firm or big company. Now is the time to require your account as fast as possible, so that we keep second session automate your accounting with Zoho books. And for this, we are fortunate to have eminent speaker in artificial intelligence, along with Zoho experience, Mr. Prathamesh Mhatre. Now I request our member Vijay Modi to give a brief introduction of our speaker.
Good morning, friends. Thank you, Kailash ji. Prathamesh ji is the manager at SK Rathi and Company. Is a semi-qualified charter accountant. Prathamesh ji has been working on taxation and accordingly looking for the accounting project for more than 10 years, and he has joined SK Rathi and Company in 2018 and has been handling implementation and training of Zoho Finance product for more than 125 clients, and he is currently leading to Zoho division in SK Rathi, a tech enthusiastic and aviation geek. Prathamesh ji enjoy exploring various software and apps related to this project. I welcome Mr. Prathamesh ji on the dais, and on behalf of Kevin Circle, please give her memento, and Mahesh ji, please join for the memento.
And also I will use all the past sitting away presentation.
Thank you, Kailash ji and all the conveners for this warm welcome. Thank you, JP Nagar Study Circle, for giving me this opportunity. I was introduced as somebody who is knowledgeable on AI. I'd like to correct that. AI is a very vast subject. अभी वहाँ पहुँचे नहीं हैं, at least at my end. What I would like to believe is AI is not the threat. The threat is somebody who knows AI. So if there is somebody who knows AI, that is a more bigger threat than AI itself. Having said that, coming back to our subject, how to automate your accounting with Zoho Books. I will be taking you through features which are very powerful in helping you automate your accounting, which are there in Zoho Books specifically today. I won't be able to take you through the application itself due to 2 घंटे में नहीं होगा ये. So I will try to explain as much as possible. Keeping the features and the presentation in mind, I'd like to take questions towards the end. So if there are questions, please note it down. We'll take it towards the end. So starting with today's presentation, primarily Zoho Books versus Tally, so to say. The difference being, Zoho is the cloud accounting software. It is not restricted to your desktop. Just like any social media, you can open any browser, log in with your credentials, user ID, password, and you have access to your books of accounts from anywhere. So you can access it from anywhere at any time. And being cloud-based, the updates, etc., happen automatically at Zoho's end. So there is no patch or anything which comes to you, you have to install it. None of that sort is there. There is security of data because being cloud-based, Zoho has its own security. There will be software reports and other reports which you will be able to receive. Being cloud-based, there is a possibility of API integration with other applications. Giving you a very small example, let's say you have an application, a mobile app or a web application or a website where you're receiving orders from your customers. You can integrate that with Zoho Books through API calls such that the sales orders automatically come into your books of accounts and you don't have to pass an entry separately. So this automation is possible because Zoho Books is on cloud. Let's start specifically with these features. User and role restriction. You can define Zoho Books who can have access to your books of accounts and to what extent. Meaning, if I am the owner, obviously I will have access to all the aspects of my books, data entry, viewing reports, balance sheet, P&L, sales reports, etc., etc. But let's say I have a junior accountant who I do not want to disclose my profit and loss and balance sheet. That person's role is just to create your sales and purchase and banking entries. This kind of an access restriction is possible in Zoho Books. You can define who can do what and to what extent. Even if he's only allowed to make data entry of sales, purchase, banking, you can restrict that they can only create entries and not delete already created entries. So to delete entries, you can have another level of person or a higher person who is only authorized to delete the entries, right? So you can have user roles and you can restrict the roles so that the user does not have all the rights. It's up to you what rights you want to give. I'll give you another example. Let's say you have two partners in your firm. You don't want one partner to see all the details. They want them to see only data pertaining to their clients. That kind of access is also possible. Comprehensive customer and vendor master creation. In addition to basic fields like your name, GST number, address, you can add additional fields like contact number, email ID, WhatsApp number. You can upload attachments like KYC documents like MSME certificates, GST certificates, bank checks. At the vendor end, you can add their bank details. You can add custom fields also, which we'll see later on. Let's say, for example, my client is into a pharmaceutical business and they want to record their drug license number as well, along with the expiry date of the license. So this kind of an additional field is also possible in the master itself. And then further automations are also possible. Like I gave the example of drug license number and their expiry date. You can trigger email alerts when the expiry is due. So you know that this person, this vendor or this customer's drug license is going to get expired, and you're not in a position to sell them any more details, or you require a new license number. So such kind of an automations are possible in Zoho Books, provided you record those information in the master itself. One more feature about customer and vendor creation is Zoho Books allows you to pull vendor details from the GST portal. Meaning if you have a customer or vendor, if they're giving you their GST number, all you need to do is update the GST number and click on fetch details. Zoho Books, being a GST Suvidha provider, has access to GST details. From there, they'll pull up the information like name of the customer, their trade name, registration type, whether it's an SEC registration or regular registration, date of registration, current status, whether they're active or not active. The information which is available on your GST portal, Search Your Taxpayer, gets visible on the Zoho Books page itself. So, number one, you're checking whether the GST number is correct or incorrect. Second, there is no typing mistake in terms of name of the party or their address or their, let's say, trade name and etc. All that information is auto-populated from the GST portal. And you also can see whether their number is still active or not. You don't have to wait for a GSTR1 return to give an error. At the creation page itself, you can see whether they have an active GST number or not. There is a customer and vendor portal within Zoho Books. Now imagine on the HR side where employees can log in and see their self-help portal. They can see their payslips, etc. They cannot see details of other employees. Similarly, customers and vendors can log in and view their details in your books of accounts. So for example, if I have a customer, I have created a sales order, I've created a sales invoice. My customer can log in without any extra charges. It will not count as your user or anything. They can log in, they can see the sales invoice that I have created. They can download at their end, record at their end. They can see their statement or their ledger account. So for reconciliation purpose, they did not ask you, please send a statement, ye period ka bhejo, piche ka bhejo, all that will not happen. They can do it at their end itself. Customer, vendor, both. Vendors can see agar aapne payment release kiya hai, what is the TDS that you've deducted, under which section you've deducted, and they can reconcile that payment aaya hai, itna TDS hai, to total itna gross receipt ho gaya hai. Apart from this, there is a add-on release which has happened last year called batch payments, in which vendor onboarding can happen through Zoho Books. Meaning, like I said earlier, if you have the GST number, the details auto fetch. But say you don't have this also. All you have is the name and the email address of the party. So you add the email address and the name. An invite goes to the vendor that you are invited to fill up your information. Using that invite, they can log in and they can fill up their details at their end. Like what is their email address, contact number, delivery address, contact person name, etc. etc. So chances of error are close to zero, or the onus is now at their end to fill up the information correctly. They can also upload their KYC documents, etc. So vendor onboarding portal is possible. This details, once they fill up, it's not like whatever they fill up will be true. It will come to a user in your organization who has to approve those details. So even if they've uploaded some bank details or they've fed some bank information, that bank information you can validate whether it's corresponding with the cancelled check that they've uploaded or not, and then proceed. So vendor onboarding is possible. Once the vendor is onboarded, you have the vendor portal, and you can create a purchase order, for instance, for that vendor, which the vendor can now accept or reject. As in, if they have goods, they'll say, yes, I'll provide them. If they don't, they'll reject with whatever reason. Same is possible on the customer side also. So if you have created a customer portal, you can create a sales quote for the customer. Let's say for XYZ services, and this is the rate for the services. The customer can in turn again accept or reject the quote. So communication also happens in Zoho Books itself. You don't need to use email or WhatsApp, etc. Everything is within the system, and there is a proper audit trail and a history of all the transaction, who has done what. Recurring invoices, expenses, bills, and journal entries. Take an example of yourself. We have retainership with a lot of clients where on a monthly, on the first of every month, 10,000, 50,000, whatever is the amount, that invoice needs to be sent to the client irrespective of what date it is. This can be automated in the system. You say that for this customer, this is the narration, this is the amount, and this is the date and the frequency. It could be monthly, quarterly, yearly. So on the first of every month, you're there or you're not there, the invoice will be sent to the client. Let's take this February itself. Today is the 1st. It's a Sunday. Typically, your invoice would go tomorrow, and if tomorrow is some issue, then 3rd is a holiday, 4th it will go. So you're already delayed by 4 days, and then cash flow is further delayed. Instead of that, you can create a recurring invoice, and the client will get the invoice on 1st itself. So your invoice is sent without any manual intervention. Same on the purchase side. Take rent example for instance, where the amount is fixed, that frequency is fixed, and the vendor is also fixed. So you can create a recurring bill in your books of accounts where you say, for example, 50,000 is the rent invoice. On that, there's GST, less TDS, etc. So on the 1st or 5th, whatever is your preferred date, and whatever frequency, monthly, quarterly, yearly, you can create a purchase bill, and that gets automatically created in the system. There is no manual intervention involved. On the sales side, if you have e-invoice also applicable, that also is automated. As soon as the invoice is created, an e-invoice is generated and sent along with the IRN to the customers. There are some recurring expenses also, and similarly, there are some recurring JVs also. I'll give you an example of JV. Let's say you purchased Zoho Books license today, and there would be some prepaid which is required to be done either on a monthly or on a yearly basis. So that prepaid can be automated. You can say, let's say for hypothetically, 12,000 is the subscription for Zoho Books and 1,000 being yearly expense. So you can automate a journal entry to reverse your prepaid account and debit your software expense on the 1st of every month. So the first time when you're booking your software expense, you recorded the prepaid, and you can automate or create a recurring journal to reverse and debit your expense on a monthly basis. Approval mechanism. All your transactions will have approval mechanisms, whether it's sales, purchase, journals, etc. Even non-accounting entries like sales order, purchase orders, quotations, they can have an approval mechanism in place. Approvals can be 3 types. One is this standard approval, wherein let's say you have 3 or 4 person. One of those 4 people need to approve the transaction, and the transaction gets approved. So if you create an invoice, it will go to the 4 people. One of them needs to click on the approve option, and then that entire transaction is approved. This is the case of a standard approval. Second is a hierarchical approval, wherein you have level 1, level 2, level 3. So you define for sales invoice, this is the set of approvers. This is the level 1 approver. Once they approve, it goes to level 2. Then they approve, it goes to level 3, and then it posts in your books of accounts, right? So approval is possible for sales, purchase, expense, journals, all transactions you can have approval mechanism. In addition to this, there is a third option of custom approval. Let's say on the purchase side, you want to create a structure wherein up to 50,000, no need for approval. From 50,000 to 2 lakhs, X person needs to approve, and anything above 2 lakhs requires a 2-level approval. So this kind of an approval, custom approval, is also possible in Zoho books. Multi-currency transactions. If you have sales or purchase transaction in other than INR, you can record them in the currency in which the vendor has raised or the customer requires the invoice. Let's say US dollar, for example. So if you have a $100 invoice, you can record that in the currency in which the customer creates. Now, why to do this? The exchange gain loss is automated. So when you record your sale or your purchase entry, there is an exchange rate which Zoho would apply. This exchange rate comes from an open website. It is not from CBIC or not from RBI. It is from an open website. As a user, you have an option to edit that exchange rate and fill up whatever you want. So let's say $100 into 90 rupees. So 9,000 rupees is the purchase or sales transaction which is recorded. When you're recording the payment or receipt entry, the bank would give another exchange rate which is applicable for that transaction. The difference in the exchange rate between the purchase and the payment side would automatically be passed as a gain or loss entry by Zoho books if you record them in foreign currency. So gain loss entries are automatically passed. Those gain loss entries there's another report which you can verify also if they are correct or incorrect. And there is no requirement for human intervention. The ledger of the party continues to stay in foreign currency, whereas the gain loss automatically happens. Attaching documents with all transactions. Each and every sale and purchase and journal transactions, when I say all transactions, including your banking entries, you can upload documents, and the limitation is per transaction level. Like a transaction can have, let's say, 5 documents that you can upload, each being not more than 5 MB each. So that the limit is enough for covering the transaction. So you can upload documents. So along with your invoice, you can actually upload your e-way bill, e-invoice, any delivery confirmation that you received, and all supporting document pertaining to that transaction. So best use case is when you're passing a depreciation entry, you can upload actually the working, which is an Excel file of the depreciation entry itself. If you're recording a salary entry, you can upload the salary working itself, so that you have at one place what is the final working of your transaction. When you're receiving money from foreign, there is an FIRC document that gets generated that is required for GST refunds, etc. So you don't need to search for them. You can upload them in the transaction itself, so that you don't have to depend on any person to retrieve the file. The document is there, not there, soil, tone, etc. All that is eliminated. You can simply upload photographs, PDFs, Word document, Excel files in the system itself. Zip file is not allowed. The other documents are possible. And earlier we saw that this is there in the master level also. So master KYC documents of customers, vendors, that is possible. If you are into trading of goods, you can upload photographs of your items also, along with other required documents. Auto reminders for outstanding invoices and purchase bills also. Invoices means sales invoice, bills is purchase side. That's Zoho terminology. Now we saw that you can automate your invoice on the 1st of every month. For example, you can send your sales invoice to the parties, and that can be automated on a recurring basis. But the payment side of it, invoice to bhej diya, paisa kaise laye? So on the payment side of it, you can automate reminders to be sent to your customers on emails, which is for free, and on WhatsApp on a paid basis. So let's say you want to send a reminder on the 20th of every month if the payment is not received. That is possible. Let's say till 25th they have not paid. You want to trigger an email on the 20th, 25th, 30th, whatever, how many ever reminders you want. You can do that through Zoho Books. Trigger emails to customers, as well as for purchase. You can trigger emails to your team members that this purchase bill needs to be paid. These emails can be triggered basis on the invoice date or due date. So there is a due date concept where the credit period comes into play. So let's say from the vendor, if you're receiving a 15-day credit period, you record a purchase bill today, being the 1st of March. Ideally, by 15th March, the payment needs to be released. So how will you remember that on the 15th, which payment needs to be released? So you can trigger an email 2 days prior to the due date, being 13th March, that this vendor's bill is due. So your team member know that they need to release payment in the next 2 days. So customer side also you can initiate reminders, as well as on the vendor side you can initiate reminders. Custom fields and reporting tags. Okay. Custom fields is basically any information. The sky is the limit. Any information you want to capture in that particular transaction, whether it is a data entry information, an attachment information, any information, you can do that at the master level and the transaction level. And this is used for running reports. So I'll give you a use case. Let's say you have customers and you have different areas of sales, let's say north, south, east, west. And you want to see what is your sales for north region, what is the outstanding for north region. That is possible only when you tell system that these set of customers belong to the north region. To capture that information that they belong to north region, you can create a custom field where you will say region and you will select that this person belongs to north region. Another use case, let's say you have two business verticals. One is audit, the other is consultancy services. And you want to see what is the sales for audit services, what is your sales for consultancy services, or what is the outstanding. Now one customer can have both these services, right? So then at the transaction level, you can select that this sales belongs to audit services, this belongs to consultancy services. Accordingly, you can run outstanding reports, sales reports, etc. for using the custom fields. On a similar basis, reporting tags. So I'm assuming everybody has used Tally. So there is a cost center feature in Tally. Something similar to that, reporting tags is there in Zoho Books, where you can associate transactions at the master as well as the transaction level to which cost center or which reporting tag they belong to, and accordingly run balance sheet P&L for those particular reporting tags. Giving again the same example of two business verticals. So if you want to see a P&L for your audit services as well as for your consultancy services, P&L would have sales and purchase both transactions. So where sales and purchase both are there, reporting tag is the answer. If you want to only see pertaining to sales or one particular angle of it, then you can do it through custom field also. There are limitations on the number of custom fields that you can create and the reporting tag. That's why you need to choose which is the best fit for your requirement. Branch accounting. You can do your branch accounting through Zoho Books, meaning if you have different branches which could be in different states having different GST numbers, or in the same state having different business verticals, that is possible through branch accounting also. Now, earlier I told you in custom field also you can do a similar thing, but the difference is in branch accounting, you can give access to one particular branch to one particular user. That's not possible in custom fields. So again, if let's say there is an accountant who's only looking after one particular segment of the business, so that branch accounting, you can associate that this user gets access only to this particular branch. So they can do data entry only in this particular branch. They cannot do it in the other branch. Similarly, just 1 minute, there's branches and there is warehouses also. So for trading businesses, manufacturing businesses, you can have warehouses where you can again associate which user can get access to which warehouse and do data entry only in that warehouse. So if you have, for example, a Mumbai office and a Bangalore office, the Bangalore accountant can do entry only for Bangalore branch and Mumbai accountant can do entry only for Mumbai branch. Projects and time tracking. This is very useful for service sector, especially for CA business, where you are wanting to understand actually to execute this particular assignment, what is the man hours that have actually gone in of my entire team. That is possible through time tracking. Within Zoho Books itself, you have a customer that customer has given you an assignment, which becomes a project. That to execute that project, you have a set of team members who will be working on it. They can punch their time entry in Zoho books. Meaning, if I am working on a particular assignment, I will say that today I spent 2 hours on this assignment. Similarly, all the users, all the team members can punch what is their time which is being invested in every assignment. And accordingly, you can have an entire timesheet which can be used for invoicing also if you have a per hour invoicing, or for discussions of fee increment, etc., where you can actually show them that look, this is the time which is actually being spent on your assignment. So negotiations can happen around that. Project-wise, profitability can also be tracked. So if you have a one-to-one sales and a one-to-one purchase pertaining to that project, you can associate that to the project and you can see a P&L of that particular project also. Earlier, we saw you could create transaction in multiple currencies, in foreign currencies as well. And the payment entry automatically records your foreign gain loss entry. But if the payment entry is not done and you have a reporting period end in the middle, then you would want to adjust the outstanding assets and liabilities to the exchange rate of the reporting period. Let's say 31st March has a different exchange rate. So you would want to adjust the assets and liabilities to the actual exchange rate of 31st March and then book your notional gain loss or your currency gain loss as of 31st March. That is possible in Zoho Books at a click of a button. All you need to do is tell Zoho Books that 31st March is my reporting period end and this is the exchange rate as of 31st March. All outstanding foreign assets and liabilities will be listed out there, where you can choose that you want to pass the adjustment entry for these invoices, for these particular set of transactions. So let's say if your purchase was done at 90 rupees and at 31st March the exchange rate is 92 rupees, irrespective of what your payment will be, the 2 rupee loss on that particular purchase transaction would be automatically passed by Zoho when you give it this information regarding currency gain loss. You can set up budgets in Zoho Books, which can be again at multiple levels. One, at organization level, you will say that this is the entire budget for the organization, where you have your sales, target expenses, etc., and target net profit, which can be split on a monthly level, quarterly level, yearly level. You can have a yearly budget also, or you can have a monthly budget also. You can have budgets at reporting tag level also. Let's say if you have two business verticals, so this is the budget for A business and this is for B business. You can have budgets for branches also. For branch A, this is the budget, etc., etc. And at a click of a button, you will get the report of budgeted versus actual. Because you already have fed the budget entry. When you're actually recording the actual entries, the system automatically generates the report and gives it to you. These reports can also be automated and sent to you on email. We'll look into that later. Transaction locking. Now in Tally, typically, once the audit is completed, you would split the data and keep it separately for your so that nobody changes it or it reconciles with your balance sheet. Zoho Books is a continuous data. There is no split possibility, backup, etc. I'll share later, but there is no split option available. Right? It's a continuous data. So the admin has the option to lock the data up to a particular period. So if your 31st March transactions are closed on 15th April, you can close your entries up to 31st March at the entire organization level and also at a module level. So for example, if GSTR1 is filed on 11th, then on 11th itself, you can lock the sales module for the previous month. So nobody can make any changes or add new entries in that module. So at the module level, as well as at the entire organization level, you can lock transactions. The admin will have the option to open it as well. All these will get logged in your audit log, meaning even if it is locked and for any reason you have to open it, an exception report is possible where it will show that so-and-so user on so-and-so time has unlocked the data, and you will have then complete visibility on what are the changes that were made. Data transfer from your bank. Now, you can link your Zoho Books with your bank account. Once you do that, every day morning at around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, Zoho Books pings to the bank and pulls your transactions of yesterday and brings it in Zoho Books under a section called uncategorized transaction. This is not accounted in your books of accounts. This is just brought over here. So the accountant need not log into the bank and download the statement on a daily basis. Those transactions are visible in the Zoho Books itself. There are some partner banks. Yeah. Sorry.
Automate the bank, but you don't have to log into the site and
Correct. So at the first instance, you just connect your Zoho Books with bank with user ID, password, etc. Once that is done, the connection is built. Then Zoho Books will go to the bank and pull all transactions of yours and bring in Zoho Books on a daily basis. So the accountant need not log into the bank portal just to see the transactions. Further, there are partner banks. Yeah.
Even the bankers are having different software. So normally we are using the Pinnacle software, but if you go back to download from the foreign banks, they use some such software. How it can be linked with this? Is it possible to link it?
Yes, sir. So there are a set of banks which are possible, and most of the banks are there in that, except for very small cooperative banks.
Foreign banks, they are using very unique software.
Could you share some names?
I think Standard Chartered Bank.
Standard Chartered is a partner bank. उसका तो हर 2 घंटे में transaction आएगा. So a lot of mails. Right.
Which I used to handle, but they're really quite expensive. And as I pointed out, the small banks like cooperative banks and branded banks and whatever banks which we are using it.
Yeah. They don't have internet infrastructure. That is the challenge for not being able to synchronize. I'm talking about the cooperative banks. But most major banks, you can connect with them. And for partner banks like ICICI Bank, Yes Bank, HSBC, Standard Chartered, and Axis Bank recently added. State Bank is also added. Kotak is there. Wherein this synchronization happens on a much frequent basis. Let's say every 1 hour, 2 hours, as well as on demand.
HDFC Bank.
HDFC Bank at the moment there is no integration, but the sync can happen on demand also. Vendor partner banks, I'll show you the next slide. There's vendor payment option also. So for synchronization, HDFC is also there. Wherein user अगर phone आता है कि मैंने payment initiate किया है, तो that user did not go to the bank to check कि bank में credit हुआ कि नहीं हुआ. They can click on the refresh button in Zoho Books itself and see whether the transaction has been credited or not. They need not go to the bank. Okay. You can set up rules for creating you can set up rules for automatically accounting the entries. Meaning, let's say अगर Swiggy लिखा है, Zomato लिखा है, it needs to go to staff welfare. Uber लिखा है, तो it needs to go to traveling expense. And so on and so forth, whatever be the catchword or an amount. Based on that, you can set up transaction rules. And based on these rules, your Zoho itself will record the transaction in those respective accounts. So every time when those transactions are available in the uncategorized section, if they match the rules, let's say BANKCHG, this is what the bank writes when there is bank charges. So if I set up that whenever CHG is written debit to my bank charges, that will automatically happen as and when the transaction is available in the uncategorized section. So setting up bank rules automatically records your accounting entry in the respective accounts based on whatever rules you set up. So to think about it, Zoho Books has your bank statement and also has your books of accounts. So the system itself does the bank reconciliation and tells you that this is the list of transactions that are not there in the bank or there in the bank, not in the books, etc. So reconciliation happens automatically in Zoho Books at a click of a button. Vendor payments with partner banks. So most of the banks, like I said, you can synchronize with their banking server and the statement is available in Zoho Books. One step further to that is initiating vendor payments with partner banks. Let's say you're banking with ICICI, for example, which is one of the partner banks. So when you've created the vendor, you added their bank details, etc. Now you've recorded a purchase bill for that vendor. You want to make payment against that bill to the party. You can do that from the Zoho Books page screen itself. You need not log into the bank. So Zoho Books will send the details to ICICI Bank. Of course, there are certain security measures in place. You need to add a user. That user needs to be authenticated. There will be OTP, etc. All those will be there. But the ease would be that you don't need to go to the bank server. You don't need to add their beneficiary, wait for those cooldown period, and then initiate the transaction. Through Zoho Books itself, you can initiate the transaction to any vendor if you're banking with the partner banks. This is possible only with the set of those list of banks which I shared. SBI is there, ICICI, Standard Chartered, Yes Bank, HSBC Bank. They are keeping on, and Axis is also there. They are keeping on adding more and more banks. Their aim is to have everybody on board. By they, I mean Zoho. But there are certain limitations from RBI, etc. But they'll keep on adding the list. So this initiate vendor payments is on the vendor side. On the customer side, you can receive payments through these payment gateways, and your receipt entry is again automatically passed. So even on the vendor side, when you initiate the payment, along with the money actually going to the vendor, your accounting payment entry is also passed automatically. On the Zoho Books page itself, you see whether the transaction is initiated, it is cleared, not cleared, pending authorization. So if on the bank side, if you have two levels, that there's a maker and checker on the bank's portal I'm talking about. So the maker can upload transactions from Zoho Books, the checker has to go to the bank's page and then approve those transactions. So you can see in the Zoho Books page itself whether that is pending, cleared, not cleared, etc. On the customer side, when you initiate the payment, or when a customer initiates payment, on your invoice, when you send a sales invoice to your customer, there would be a link available on the invoice itself. Click here to pay. If the customer clicks there to pay, they will be redirected to one of these two payment gateways, Zoho Payments and Razorpay, through which if they make the payment, your sales receipt entry is also automatically passed. You don't need to record the transaction. That is again automatically passed in your books of accounts.
Advices according
To the vendor and customer, yes.
Yeah, but can companies maintain books in Zoho?
Zoho Books, everybody can maintain, including your personal books of accounts as well as public limited
So
companies.
audit trail also will be there.
Yeah, that is a double-edged sword. Audit trail is possible, matlab any mischief is not possible. And it's not a feature which you can disable or request Zoho to disable. Audit trail is by default there even for partnership firms, even where statute is not requiring it, as well as for companies where it's required.
So for all users, audit trail just
By default there. Yeah.
But you can hack the data.
No, sir.
So it is cloud-based.
No, sir. Zoho has their security in place. Zoho has their certification, audits, all that is there. Sorry? Yeah. So I'll take 2 minutes to explain about other Zoho applications. This is just one application of Zoho Books. There are more than 50 plus applications of Zoho. From the chat point of view, there are two applications. One is Zoho Click, CLIQ, which is more like Slack or Microsoft Teams, which is for internal official communication. And Aratai, which you're talking about, it is for what? It's a social, on a social settings for social engagements. Aratai is a competitor to WhatsApp. Both those chat applications are also linked, can be linked to Zoho Books, right? So in Zoho Click, if in our organization this is there, that when a customer makes payment through the payment gateway, we get an intimation. We, as in the you can set up book as the intimation that we've received money on so and so. So the partners need not actually log into the bank, etc., or wait for their accountant to get information that payment is received. If payment comes in through this payment gateways, on the Click messaging bot itself, we get information that this payment is received. Just 1 minute. Yeah.
See, if let's assume the company has given rights to the accountant for accounting entry and all, And you say also you can directly do the payments to the vendors also.
Correct.
Can the accountant directly, enable
It's up
that
to you.
because the-
No. Admin needs to give those rights to all the users. If you give them rights, then they can.
Yeah, if the admin rights are being given to the accountant,
Then they can.
they can initiate that.
Yes.
So is there a way in which that can be restricted?
Don't give them admin rights.
Oh, that is that, but if you have to give the full.
So see, there are two things. One is admin rights. The second is the bank vendor payment, which you're talking about. Bank vendor payment is not as simple as you click pay and it goes. You need to have a user ID password which the bank generates. While generating that, they will ask what is there's an API banking kit which is available. Like there's a net banking kit, there's an API banking kit, wherein that user would be registered. Uska email address, mobile would be registered for getting the transactional OTPs.
Okay.
So-
So the accountant need the banking
Correct.
credentials.
Yeah, correct.
That would be the check.
Yes.
Okay.
If you said that customers book the order, yes, whatever it may say, automatically invoice is also generated or mainly we getting is just inquiry.
So you're talking about the website integration. So on the website, if you got an order, that order can flow to Zoho Books. In Zoho Books, it will get recorded as a sales order. And you can have an automation in Zoho Books where you say, as soon as a sales order comes, create a sales invoice, send it to the party. It's up to you whether you want to do it or not.
What I understand from your discussion is there is the application Zoho called Zoho. It is a cloud-based system in which you are giving all your details right from all the documents, source documents, banking, passwords, etc. And this data is stored at the cloud. There's some other service provider. So you see what is the there may not be a breach of the confidentiality. And second thing, in case disputes. So client will be giving the confidential information, which may be later on used differently.
No. So like I was sharing, Zoho has their security in place like all other cloud services. If you're using MS Teams, Teams was also on cloud. The data that you store on OneDrive is also equally on the same level what Zoho is. All cloud service providers have to undergo their audit of the cloud infrastructure. They get their certifications. That certifications is available for satisfaction of all statutory auditors as well. There is no breach. We ask Zoho one-to-one that tomorrow if the income tax department says show me data of XYZ organization, that is not possible. Zoho cannot give that data unless there is a court order. If the court has given an order, only then Zoho will show the data.
That is a separate part. See, that is what I was saying. As a client or as a company giving all the data which is not supposed to be given the open place or very cloud.
This is your data. Even Zoho does not have access to this. When you talk to Zoho support agents, they cannot log in from the backend and check your data. It is not possible unless you are a user of the organization.
Say something. If someone wants to keep this Zoho records only on his computer, not on the cloud, like it happens to me that I will keep it on my own computer. Is it possible to have it?
Primarily, Zoho is a cloud-based application.
So that means it will not be possible.
Having said that, Zoho is a cloud-based application. All their servers are on Zoho. There is one model which is going to be launched very soon, which is a hybrid version, wherein if your internet is fluctuating, you can do data entry in your local, but as soon as the internet is available, it will sync with the cloud. So complete desktop is not possible.
The difference concern.
No,
I
sir.
don't want to keep anything in the cloud. I want to keep it only on my computer. The reason is that if my confidential data with through court ordering somebody is going to get, what is the point of having the such records there? Yeah, we have some confidential information.
Absolutely right.
Confidential accounting.
Right.
Yeah, everyone knows what I mean.
Correct. So, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. Audit trail is there. And in such cases, I would then say continue with Tally, sir. That's the best.
But
The getting court order is not that easy.
See, what happened is the pricing, this moment you say share sales invoices, you know the pricing, so same different product, different companies, there is a competition on that. I mean, giving my pricing details to you, which I'm not supposed to give.
You're not giving to anybody is what I'm trying to say. It's with you only. It's your application itself. Nobody has access to this except for your organizational team members.
So when you are saying that there is a sales invoice can be generated automatically, you need to have a digital signature. Means
All that you can do. You can add either an image, or if you want digital signature, then you need to manually add it.
otherwise it is not a valid invoice.
Right. E-invoicing can happen. If you want a digital invoice, as in the digital signature, then you need to add it manually and then send it.
This Zoho has got any share accounting features like can import the-
We are doing share accounting for one of our clients, wherein the what do you call that? Contract notes are coming. Using Zoho Flows, Zoho Drive, and other Zoho applications, we've automated that, where the user is uploading that document, the system is reading it and automatically doing the sales purchase entries. So it's not standalone Zoho books, but with Zoho books along with other Zoho applications, this automation also we've done for a client.
If the company is having one bank with a two different branch, they are having a account. It will go properly.
Yeah, because now with the centralized banking, I think branch level is redundant.
They are having a single, say for example, branch of the same bank.
You mean two accounts in the same bank?
Say for example, one is in Delhi, one is in.
That's okay.
It goes properly.
Yeah, because I understand now bank accounts are all India level. The branch level thing is gone. Okay, but that's possible.
But if you have some net problem, or if there is net problem, you cannot do the entry in that.
That's correct. Without internet, you cannot do entry. You'll have to wait for internet. E-invoicing is possible. That's the next slide. So e-way bill, e-invoicing, both are possible in Zoho Books itself. Once you create your transaction, you can push to e-invoicing. Your IRN, QR code, etc. will get added in the invoice. You can create an e-way bill also for your transactions from Zoho Books itself. You can download the e-way bill within Zoho Books itself and share with your travel person. Part A, Part B, both is possible in Zoho Books. If only Part A is required, create that, submit the transporter ID, it will go to the portal. If Part B also is something that you need to create of e-invoicing, e-way bill, that also you can create and submit. On the invoice, e-way bill number, e-invoicing QR code, etc. would get populated. Multi GST number of the same vendor or same client. You can add along with all details, GST details of the customer and vendor, whether they have one registration or multiple registration in India in the same master itself, which means that your ledger of the customer would be one, even if they have multiple GST numbers, unless they require a separate ledger of Maharashtra state and of Delhi state. Only then you'll have to create duplicate customer or vendors. But if you want in the same master itself, then you can create that in the same vendor master. You need not create duplicate customers.
And for multi-state operators, you have multiple GST, generally have GST and vice tally.
So at the customer level, in the customer master, vendor master itself, you can add this, including ISD registrations also. At the organization level, if you have multiple registration numbers, then there is branches in which you can have each branch, like you'll have to call it as Maharashtra branch, Gujarat branch, Karnataka branch. Each will have their GST numbers, and you can do accounting in branch wise for different GST numbers. Along with that, if you have a fourth ISD number also, that is also there in Zoho Books, where you can have your purchases recorded in your ISD registration, and GSTR 6 can also be filed from Zoho Books.
But in branches, so it will be under one company ID.
Correct. You don't need to create multiple, like Tally, you don't need to create multiple organizations within the same thing. Within the same organization, you can have multiple GST numbers. And then, like I was sharing, you can give access to users based on those location also. So if you have a Delhi separate accountant, that person will do data entry only for Delhi sales and purchase. So them recording their purchase in a different GST number is eliminated. Correct. Yes. So taking search point further up, if you do that, all your reports can be run at branch level, meaning your trial balance can be happen at GST number level also. This is a requirement which comes from GST officers. Give the trial balance for this particular number. That is possible in Zoho Books. So along with GSTR 6, your regular GSTR 1 can be filed through Zoho Books. E-invoicing is already happening. GSTR 1 will be filed from Zoho Books along with your documentation section, your HSN summary, B2B, B2C HSN summary, everything happens from Zoho Books. The automation here is that you don't need to sit and do a separate working of your GST reports. As and when you're doing your sales transaction, you're creating a sales invoice, you're creating a credit note, simultaneously your GSTR 1 is getting auto-populated in the system. There is no requirement for you to sit separately on the 10th or 9th of the month and populate your GST transaction. At the click of a button, for whichever GST number you select, if you have multiple GST numbers, then whatever GST number you select, you will get your GSTR 1 report within Zoho Books itself, which you can download in Excel for your reference, download in JSON, share it with anybody if you want, or directly upload from Zoho Books itself to the GST portal. So like ClearTax and other applications which file the GST return, Zoho Books also pushes the data to the GST portal. Your GST returns can be filed through Zoho Books itself, meaning data is pushed, EVC can be put in Zoho Books itself, and this return can be filed from Zoho Books. If you have digital signature filing, that can also be done through the Zoho Books application itself. You need not log into the GST portal at all for your GSTR 1. Unless you want to check, etc., that's separate. But there is no requirement to log into the GST portal for GSTR 1. Similarly, for GSTR 2B reconciliation also happens in Zoho Books. Zoho pulls the data of GSTR 2B, the information of GST number of the vendor and the purchase bill number of the party is used to reconcile the purchase transaction in your books of accounts. The GST number of the vendor and a bill number in your data entry is then mapped, and then Zoho gives you a report. There in Zoho Books, not there in Zoho Books, there in GSTR 2B, not in 2B. Those 4 reconciliation sheets, typically what we provide for GST 2B reconciliation, is done by Zoho Books itself. Now the catch here is that although Zoho does this automatically, at the data entry level, the person needs to do the data entry properly. Meaning, if my invoice is SKR/002425/005, now the data entry person, if mistakenly puts instead of 005 as only 5 and record that purchase entry, from system point of view, 005 and 5 are 2 separate transactions. It would show this as a mismatch or a reconciliation item. So this needs to be ensured that the accountant is doing correctly.
That's why AI is coming. That's why
Yeah. Having said that, there are instances where although you've recorded it correctly, the vendor's consultant has done some plus and minus and uploaded the transaction number incorrectly. So in that cases, you have to reconcile with what's there in 2B for this 2B reconciliation to work seamlessly. So GSTR 1 return filing automatically, 2B automatically reconciliation possible provided your data is 100% accurate. Then comes 3B. 3B filing also happens from Zoho Books. You can manually update what is the credit that you want to take basis on the 2B reconciliation done. Push that data to Zoho Books. Payment, however, is not possible from Zoho Books of your GST returns unless it is an HSBC bank, wherein through the NEFT method, you can make payment from Zoho Books. Otherwise, you'll have to go to the GST portal and make the payment for that challan. But once it is done, when you say that particular return or mark it as filed in Zoho Books for your GSTR 3B, the set of entry which happens, that set of entry Zoho automatically passes basis on what the data is filed in the portal. So on the GST portal, in your GSTR 3B return, the last table will show what is your output liability, how much you've paid from your ITC, how much is paid through cash, what is the interest, penalty, etc. that is there in that return. Basis this information, Zoho itself passes a set of entry in your books of account, knocks off your output and input, and creates a payable ledger, and also records the expense of your interest, penalty, etc., which is there in the return.
Skill.
Yeah.
When there is a debit note raised by say vendor or a client, and if you are not accepting, you can filter it through Zoho.
Thank you for raising that. So along with GSTR 1, 2B, 3B, IMS dashboard is also possible. So if you're talking about that, sir, IMS dashboard is your 2B accepting or rejecting the transaction. So you can download your IMS data in Zoho Books. Zoho will reconcile, you will mark as accept, rejected, and push that IMS back. So is that your answer? Does that so IMS dashboard is also there in Zoho Books. It's there since IMS was launched in November 2023, I think. So since that time itself, it's there in Zoho Books. That is possible.
Some vendor, they are having a quarterly return.
Yeah. So
Data will not fetch, but you want to take input.
no, so if your vendor is quarterly, if they are filing IFF only, then you can claim credit. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for the quarter end. So same logic here. If they're filing IFF, it will come in 2B and then it will match and you can claim credit. Else you have to wait for the quarter end. GSTR 9 is possible in Zoho Books. There are quite a lot of tables which are relevant to books data which you can extract from Zoho Books. But there's still some work to be done because जैसा चाहिए वैसा नहीं आ रहा है हम लोग भी ट्राई कर रहे हैं 100% is not possible, but quite a lot of information you can generate from. So there is a 9C report itself, which is specifically for 9C, which gets generated only at the end of the year, based on whatever changes the government makes. Apart from that, there are other reports. So using other reports and the 9C reports, you will come to somewhere close to what we require. काफी सारा मेहनत बचेगा बट 100% जैसे वन में मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि यू डोंट नीड टू लुक एनीवेयर एल्स जोहो से ही पूरा फाइल हो जाएगा वैसा 100% 9C नहीं हो पाएगा
May be possible नहीं है ना because 6 months debit note
correct right auto scheduling your reports in Zoho Books. You can create reports based on the custom fields that you created. There are more than 50 plus reports which Zoho itself has. Typically, we are used to seeing balance sheet, trial balance, P&L, day book, sales register, purchase register. Outside this, there are more reports which are there in Zoho Books by default. Some of them like only for sales, you have 3 different reports, sales by item to see which item is top selling. It could be a goods item or a service item also. So sales by item, sales by customer to see which is your top selling customer, sales by salesperson to see which is the most performing salesperson. So the same set of data you can view from 3 angles. Similarly, on the purchase side also you have the same kind of reports. These are default reports. In addition to that, I explained earlier about region-wise sales if you want. So you've recorded somewhere that these set of customer belong to region A, region B, etc. Basis that custom field, you can create a custom report in Zoho Books itself. So every time you don't need to raise those filters, that custom report you can save and keep. So let's say your auditor or you require a set of a report pertaining to sales, more specifically from GST point of view. So you want a sales register wherein a set of columns which you have required is there. So there is some customization required from the front end itself, as in the user itself can do this customization, select what columns they want, what they don't want, what period it wants, etc. Add certain filters, generate that report and give it to the party. Now this report, if it's required on a recurring basis, you won't want to add those filters every time. So once you've added the filters, you'd like to save those filters. So you can save that report as a custom report for your future reference. So next time, you all have to do is set a period and run the report. Now these reports can then further be automated on your email also. Let's say on the 1st of every month, you want your P&L, or on the 5th of every month, you want to see your P&L balance sheet. On the 25th of every month, you want to see what is your outstanding customers. These kind of reports can be scheduled to be sent on emails of users as well as non-users. Meaning there is the management, let's say, who is not part of Zoho Books, but they need to see this particular report on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis. So you can automate that this report we send to this particular email address, which is not a Zoho Book user also, in PDF or Excel, whatever format you select. So default reports, customized reports can be automated to whoever you want.
This case doesn't be dashboards and instead.
Yeah, so there is a dashboard in Zoho Books. When you log in, the first that you see is a dashboard where there are some widgets which are visible, which gives you a broad level of how your business is doing. You have total receivables, they're aging, payables, they're aging, You have a pie chart of what is your top expenses. Then there's a bar graph of the year. What is your income versus your expense for every month. So that is there. Apart from this, if you want to see something specific, then there's another application called Zoho Analytics, which is like Microsoft Power BI, where you can create user specific dashboards. So let's say I am somebody who only looks after sales, so I need to see graphical reports of sales. So there you can create those reports. There are different pricings of Zoho books and different plans of Zoho books. In the ultimate plan, this feature is there in Zoho books itself, so you don't need to go to analytics. So you can customize the dashboard for every user in Zoho books itself. Like reports you can customize. You can have branch-wise reports also, like we were sharing earlier. If you have different GST numbers, you can have branch-wise trial balance, P&L balance sheet. Reporting tag-wise, meaning cost center-wise balance sheet P&L is also possible. Project-wise balance sheet P&L is also possible. So you can see which project is performing how. This is very useful for CA firms where you're maintaining books on cash basis. In Tally, you need to record a sales transaction, then create a adjustment entry to arrive at your cash basis and see your data in your Tally, right? That is not required in Zoho books. You simply record the transaction the way you are recording. And at a click of a button, you can see what is your accrual P&L and what is your cash P&L. How this works is Zoho has information which sale transaction or which purchase transaction has been paid or not paid. So in Tally, against reference is a feature which is very rarely used. Everything goes on account. In Zoho books, that's not the case. Every transaction needs to be recorded against a purchase or a sales transaction. Okay, even if you are recording advance, when the purchase or sales entry is recorded, you need to associate it to that particular transaction and close the transaction. So Zoho has visibility on which sale transaction is paid, which purchase is paid or not paid, and basis that it populates your sales and cash basis, P&L, balance sheet, etc. Again, this is not 100% seamless. Because what happens is that let's say you created a sales invoice for 1 lakh rupees and the customer has paid only 25,000. What Zoho at the moment is doing is the GST, 18,000 GST is also proportionately 25% being shown as your liability. It's not showing 100% 18,000. So a little bit of working needs to be done, but not to the extent what you're presently doing in Tally, that every transaction needs to be reversed. That is not required. All your reports can be visible from Zoho books. Your automation can happen because you're creating an invoice, the reminder, etc. can go. Although you're maintaining on cash basis your books of accounts, still you're creating invoices, sending it to them, reminders are going, thank you emails are going, all those things are happening.
So wherever those adjustments are made, so specifically just in the example of 1,25,000, those reports will come or the reports will not come. So that we can conclude that these are the adjustments made for arriving at the cash transaction.
So there is a feature of a 13th period entry to be passed. So you can pass your journal entries in that 13th reporting period, and then you can run a report for that particular thing. So this is a feature which is there in SAP also, where you have your 12 months, and then there is a 13th period for adjustment entries. So Zoho also has that feature of 13th period, not available by default. You have to request it. But all 13 periods, like you have all your 12 months are there, right? So every entry will have a date. That date will represent that entry falls in which month. There is a 13th month, which is specifically only for adjustment entries. So audit adjustment entries go on the 13th period. So those entries which you are sharing can go in 13th period and you can run reports based on that. Yes, sir.
Like for get my GST returns in Zoho.
Correct.
Similarly, can we find a PDF return also?
Yeah. So Zoho Books and Zoho Payroll, two applications. Zoho Payroll at the moment has the feature of giving you the TXT file for filing your 24Q return. In that TXT file, you need to run one challan validation of CSI file and generate your FUE file, which you can upload in your income tax portal. So there is no such requirement of a separate software for your 24Q return, which is your salary return. Through Zoho Payroll, that is possible. For non-salary data, Zoho Books at the moment does not have the report. but they have a feature wherein you can record challans of your TDS, and you can associate those challans to respective purchase bills, meaning the data at the time of creating your payment challan and the data at the time of filing your TDS return remains the same. That nobody can add or delete anything. Further, Zoho is in work of being able to file your TDS returns also through Zoho books for non-salary. Salary तो अभी भी है ही, non-salary का काम चल रहा है. Income tax has not yet opened the APIs. So direct filing of returns like GST won't be possible until income tax allows it. But you will be in a position to download a file which you can simply upload on the income tax portal for your TDS returns. There are reports where you can add those filters and get that information. थोड़ा काम करना पड़ता है, 2-3 रिपोर्ट एक साथ निकाल के काम करना पड़ता है, but we are doing that for all our clients.
Once you file this 3B return.
Yeah.
So full credit entries and everything will get on.
Right. So as soon as you mark your GSTR 3B as filed in Zoho books, the set of entry automatically happens in Zoho books based on whatever is there in the portal. Template customization. So we are used to seeing tally invoice और वो देख के ही समझ जाता है कि ये tally का invoice है, right? That is because वो tally का standard format है. Similarly, Zoho has a set of templates which you can use, which are Zoho standard templates. In already अभी हो चुका है, आपको देख के समझ आएगा कि ये Zoho का invoice है. But Zoho has an option where you don't limit yourself to just these invoices. Like a blank slate, आपका अगर brand guideline के हिसाब से you have any specific requirement, you can customize your sales invoice the way you want through HTML coding. जैसा चाहिए, जो चाहिए, you can create your template for your sales transaction, sales quotation, sales order, your purchase orders. So those templates of your PDFs that are going outside can be customized. Similarly, there are emails which are being sent. Like I said earlier, vendor onboarding है, customer का payment आया, you can send a thank you email along with an invoice. Every invoice goes along with an email. So all such email bodies can also be customized. Reminder payment, reminder emails जो जा रहा है, they can also be customized the way you want to do it. So there is 100% customization possible of all templates, including your PDF and email templates. Workflow automation. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's say every time somebody creates a high value sales invoice, you want the entire team to know that they've cracked a deal and you want them to celebrate. Similarly, every time a high value purchase transaction is booked, you want a certain level of person to be aware of this transaction, right? So there is a trigger event and there is a action that needs to be done at the trigger event. So in my example, trigger event is every sales which is more than, let's say, 5 lakh rupees, or every purchase which is more than 5 lakh rupees. This is the trigger event. And the action that needs to be done is, let's say, an email needs to be sent, right? So this kind of an automation is possible in Zoho books, where you can have emails, you can have in-app notifications, you can have custom field updates. Like for example, every time a customer crosses a particular sales value, you can update in the customer master that now this is a high value customer. So this kind of a field update is also possible. So you can have workflow automations, which are which is something which you can do at your end also, and you can get them customized through developers also for custom codes. So we had this automation in our organization where on every 20th and 25th of the month, all customers where our invoices are outstanding get a reminder. Now that reminder, along with the entire table of this is your invoice, this is outstanding. So we have customized that completely. And further, we said that we don't want this to go for all customers. We will select in the customer master whether reminder is applicable or not. So in the customer master, we created a custom field saying reminder applicable, yes or no. So wherever there is yes, there the system will check whether there is an outstanding on 20th. If there is an outstanding, it will tabulate the outstanding in a format. and send it to the client on email. So this kind of an automation is possible. And I must say that has helped a lot in our cash flow because a lot of customers want to pay, but they just need to be reminded to pay.
Sir, one more thing.
Yes.
In case of job work,
No.
the material should come back within 6 months. Is there any provision that will happen?
Yeah. So there is a delivery note transaction which you can create where the ownership is still with you, but the goods are not in your warehouse. So using the delivery note, you can record transactions going, goods going out of Zoho books. Those delivery notes need to be either invoiced or returned. So in job work case, you will return those goods back to yourself. So you can have these kind of automations where if a delivery note is created and it's more than 5.5 months, so an alert is triggered to you that this is due to be received back. So you can receive and send it again or whatever be the use case. So you can have that kind of automation. Contextual integrations with other Zoho applications. So I mentioned Zoho Books is one of the application and there are more than 50 plus applications in Zoho Books, in Zoho ecosystem, right? All those applications talk to each other on a contextual level, meaning जितना जरूरी है उतना information एक दूसरे के साथ share करते हैं. So Zoho Books gets information from Zoho projects with respect to the customers. What is the time entry? You can have in Zoho Books itself record time entries also. But complex project management के लिए there is Zoho projects application where different tasks उनका कौन कभी task करना चाहिए, other things are possible in Zoho projects. So from there information flows like what is the customer, what is the time entry for invoicing purposes. There is Zoho People which is an HRMS product. From Zoho People again time entries can flow into Zoho Books. There is Zoho Payroll for your payrolls application. Zoho People send the data of attendance to payroll. Payroll processes the payroll and passes the JV in Zoho Books. There is Zoho Inventory for inventory management. That sales order, purchase order, etc. comes from there. Zoho Expense for reimbursement management. So employee out-of-pocket reimbursements happen through Zoho Expense. As soon as they are approved over there, the liability entry is passed in Zoho Books. As soon as you record that reimbursement as reimbursed, the payment entry is also passed in Zoho Books. Even for payroll, or not just the salary JV, even the payment entry is automatically passed through Zoho Payroll itself. Zoho Payroll also has the bank integration option where you can initiate the employee payments through the Zoho Payroll page itself, just like vendor payments. Same for Zoho Expense also. Then there's, sorry?
What does the function?
Zoho People is complete HRMS management. So right from onboarding of the employee till their exit is mapped in Zoho People. So उनका onboarding हो गया, उनका leave management, attendance management, hierarchy, LMS, KRAs, etc. वो सब उधर होता है. HR वालों के लिए product है.
And Zoho Expense and Zoho CRM.
Zoho Expense is employee reimbursement. So अगर अपने कोई team audit के लिए जा रहा है, तो उनका जो voucher आता है, that voucher is now online through Zoho Expense. They need to submit it through there. So then there are approval mechanisms, audit trail. कोई एक ही voucher दो बार एक ही supporting document दो बार डालेगा तो वो पकड़ लेगा and things like that. So that is Zoho Expense. CRM is a CRM application for your entire customer lifecycle management. So from CRM, your sales, your customer data flows to Zoho Books. So all this is information which is linked with Zoho Books. इसलिए यहाँ पे मैंने pull किया है. CRM shares data of the customers with Zoho Books. There's Zoho Commerce also, where you can build your own website and sell your products on Zoho Commerce. That flows the order data to Zoho Books, customer payment data to Zoho Books. Once all this information is there in Zoho Books, then you can build reports within Zoho Books, as well as there's Zoho Analytics, where you can put where Zoho Books data synchronizes with analytics, and you can run custom reports, custom dashboards on Zoho Analytics, which can again be automated to certain people, automatically sent to them for which could be graphical reports, tabular reports, any kind, whatever you want. This is something related to what is recently launched. So Zoho Books application completely manages your accounting aspect. Zoho ERP is a separate application which also does all these features which I shared just now. In addition to that, there are other features in ERP, but Zoho Books, all the features which are mentioned in Zoho Books, all those are there in Zoho ERP. In addition to that, ERP has the operation point of view also. There is manufacturing, there is distribution, there is other verticals of ERP. I'm not going into detail of that. But what I want to highlight is all Zoho Books features are there in ERP. ERP is not like a bundle product. It is a separate application. मतलब अगर आपके पास Zoho Books है, तो ऐसा नहीं कि आप ERP भी ले लो साथ में. It's substituting each other. So Zoho Books is a smaller product. ERP is much bigger.
So ERP is like Tally.
No. Tally ERP का सिर्फ नाम ERP है, इसमें सब कुछ है.
So this will have
Zoho Books
include all the 7-8 products.
No, I'll come to that. No, that's what I'm saying. So Zoho Books is separate, ERP is separate. But why I've put this here is all the features what I explained here are there in ERP also. ERP has accounting, HR management, operation management, a lot of things. So उसमें से जो accounting management है, उसके अंदर ये सारे features हैं. And इसमें से just I'm not going one-to-one. Payroll, expense, inventory, and books. ये सब ERP में कर सकते हैं. जो भी इसके standalone features है, वो सब ERP में भी है. In addition to that, there is manufacturing, there is operation management. Yes, sir.
Zoho Books can pull that data from other.
That depends if that other accounting software has API capabilities. आप Tally से बोलोगे तो it is an entire activity that we do of migrating Tally data to Zoho Books. अगर ऐसा करना है तो it is a procedure or it's an assignment that we take depending on कितने साल का data migrate करना है. But it's a manual process. There is no automatic flow. Yeah. This is a WhatsApp community that we are right now hosting, in which a lot of common users are there who ask each other questions, and we help everybody out. This is a YouTube channel which we keeps uploading help videos where you can see any transaction, anything that you need. You can upload these videos. You can view on these videos. Yeah.
OERP, service, Tally. Which is the better one, which is the more cost effective?
So Tally, I'll ask you a simple question. I'm very honestly, I am not somebody who knows Tally, but I would like to ask you a question based on the features of ERP. In Zoho ERP, you can do something. Zoho Books. Okay, so that depends on a lot of factors. I'll tell you some.
Tally within is 50 user application or what it is?
See, different parameters will define the answer to this. If you just go by users, then Tally will be more economical. But then if those 50 people, do they sit in one place or multiple places? That becomes a question. Then you will have to go for Tally Cloud, which is again a separate cost. So apart from this, the management requirement, a lot of second generation owners now want visibility on their mobile itself. Tally does not give that visibility. So they want to go for Zoho Books so that they can see the transaction. They don't have to wait for the accountant to share data, etc.
Is far better, no doubt in it. But coming back cost application, which is a really on bits say chartered accountant firm or our clients.
So wait, I'll cover that.
Where we can ask them why we should.
No, I'll tell you. So this is what we have also practiced. Frankly, a lot of our clients itself told that we want to go to Zoho Books. So from a CA point of view, in your firm, you buy the Tally license. In that, you create one company or you create 100 companies. Tally really does not have any control or any restriction on that part. That's not how Zoho works. On Zoho's side, every organization has its own subscription plan, right? So there is a free plan, then there is a paid plan. So every client will have a subscription plan. They need to subscribe based on the features that they want. Okay. The clients, it is up to the client if they want live visibility of their data or not. We have in fact split the accounting work between client and ourselves. Where you said that you guys do the sales part, sales transaction आप record करो, banking और purchase हम लोग देख लेंगे. So we split the work between client and ourselves. So the plus point for coming from Tally to ERP is primarily going to be visibility for the client, sir. If they want visibility, then they can pay for the subscription and go for it. It will be very difficult for CFs to pay for the subscription. The client has to pay for subscription.
For the small applications only, which are usually the region. This for example, for Tally application, we can get it for 1 lakh rupees, pay for about 25 or 30 people, 35 users. Same thing if I say I have to go for the Zoho. If it is going to cost 5 lakh rupees, why should I go from 1 lakh rupees to 5 lakh?
You're right. So
From that point of view,
just bases on use, like I said, सिर्फ यूजर के पैरामीटर पे चेक करना is very difficult. You need to see other parameters also. अगर सिर्फ यूजर बोलो तो एनी डे आप टैली का ही फ्री रहेगा.
Give the simple application. Say for example, I am a very small mid-size organization. What will be the approximate cost of Zoho application?
So Zoho pricing is there on the Zoho Books pricing page. It starts from 9,000 a year, goes all the way up till I think 1 lakh rupees तक जाता है. It has different features in each of the plan. I'm not sure if this laptop has internet. इसमें है क्या?
Okay, that is this pricing structure you can get it.
Yeah, you have to just go to Zoho Books pricing page.
Then only one company can be done into Zoho, right?
Every plan, every organization needs to have a plan. So that translates to 9,000 rupees. Right from 9,000, right up till 8,000 a month. So almost 1 lakh of rupees. This is the pricing. So every plan has its features. And then there are some set of users which come with it, etc., etc. Then there is bundled features like premium plan के बाद प्रीमियम प्लान के ऊपर पेरोल उसके साथ आ जाता है, इलाइट प्लान में इन्वेंट्री साथ में आ जाता है. तो it's a decision which needs to be done considering the particular organization and the features that they have. If they have multiple locations, they want to use it at different locations. If they have multiple warehouses, if it's purely accounting, then maybe Tally would be more beneficial. But if it's much more than accounting, where automation etc. is required, then you will have to use some sort of a cloud-based application. Yeah, so monthly and yearly है. If you go for the yearly option, तो 20% discount आता है. Also, you saw 749 per month, right? तो वही अगर तुम monthly pay करने जाओगे तो 900 हो जाता है.
Like Delhi, Zoho Books has got any special pricing?
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. ICI signed an MOU with Zoho where for your organization एक कंपनी के लिए 3 साल के लिए Zoho का जो ultimate plan है वो free है. Zoho Books, Zoho Expense, Zoho Payroll is free for CA firms. You have to go to CMP benefit page और वहाँ पे Zoho Books है. Through that, put your membership number, sign up. You will get Zoho's ICI plan, premium plan, free for 3 years. After 3rd year, you have to pay.
CIRP.
CMP page. CMP, correct?
The capacity building plan.
Sorry?
Coverage.
It's the ultimate plan. जो सबसे महंगा वाला है ना वो. Zoho Books का सबसे महंगा वाला plan है. Payroll and inventory में I think 25 employees manage कर सकते हो.
You mentioned about is this for suitable for a business entity? When we are running a trust, having educational institutions, hospitals.
Yeah.
Customers are then patients and the students are the customers. How do we?
Correct. So we have done this for a trust which is running a college where the sales becomes fee receipts and things like that. So pure accounting is possible here. But operation point of view, if you want to say, like patient management and that, for that you'll have to go for a specific application. ERP has an NGO option available. We are helping them build it. अभी तक लॉन्च किया है, सही से पूरा लॉन्च नहीं किया है, सिर्फ इनकम साइड देखा है, स्पेंडिंग वाला साइड देखना बाकी है. But Zoho ERP will have that functionality. Zoho Books will manage your accounting irrespective of nature of your application. Till before ERP launch, it was such that trading and service sector के लिए Zoho was completely beneficial, or it covers all the features. For manufacturing, there was a challenge. With the launch of ERP, that is also covered. So Zoho ERP will address even the manufacturing entities. So irrespective of what the nature of your organization is, or the business you are into, Zoho Books can address all your accounting application.
One more question.
Yeah.
Suppose I have 5 PMS accounts.
Yeah.
My client has a 5 PMS accounts. Then how, if he has a 5 PMS account, then will it take care of all the accounts if I put their bank summaries and their bank notes? How does that happen?
If your client has 5 PMS accounts, but सब पैसा तो उसका ही है, correct? Yeah, yes, we can manage. So like I said, we are doing it for a trading entity, where we are managing this through warehouse. So हर एक PMS एक warehouse है, उसमें कितना shares है, कितना आया गया, वो सब उसमें
Take
मिलता
care
है.
of everything inventory and everything.
Right. So sale, purchase, pricing, all that is possible. Using analytics, we are running reports also for profitability, etc. So that's possible. Yeah. Builders, there is a challenge in builders because the period sometimes goes above 1 year, right? So we'll have to take this. I'll have to understand a little more in detail. I don't have honestly any client which is into construction, and to be honest, उन लोग को ऐसा audit trail वाला चलता भी नहीं है.
Change it out.
But honestly, on a I'll have to understand more in detail. Sorry. I was just joking, but yeah, I'll have to understand a little more in detail. I don't have a client from a real estate side, so I'm not sure what are the nitty-gritties of it. See, pure sales, purchase, all that is possible here. Okay, you can have inventories also of your stock. By inventory, I mean your flats, etc. Your projects can be work in progress, which could be in your asset side till whatever. So your pure accounting can happen from here. I'm talking more about after accounting, how do you run your reports? How do you see a particular project's report? That project may last for 1 year, may last for 3 years. So the advanced part of it is what I want to understand more in detail. But basic accounting, etc., is possible. Yeah, correct. That's what I want to understand. I don't have a ready answer for you, sir. We'll connect. Yes, sir. Yeah, budgets are possible.
Is there any data restriction?
It depends on the plan. So the plans which I showed you, every plan has its own maximum number of transactions that you can create. That is how they control the storage capacity also. So, this is not, sorry. Oh, you guys could not see the pricing page.
On the screen.
I will show. Yeah. Also see. Okay, so this is the pricing page of Zoho Books. It starts right from 749 all the way till 96,000, almost a lakh of rupees. Every plan has its own features. So depending on what features you want, you have to select which plan is suitable for you. And the transactions are mentioned over there. If you see invoices, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 25,000. If it goes above a lakh of rupees, if it goes above 1 lakh transactions in a year, then there's customized pricing, which typically is between 50 paisa per transaction types.
The free version is also there.
There's a free version also, correct. In free version, you don't have all the automations which I was sharing, like your bank does not integrate. Only if they are partner banks, then it integrates. So there are certain limitations to it. But individual के लिए ये काफी है free वाला. For entities, you will have to go for some paid plan.
When you're sharing a presentation, for all these things, so that we can decide.
This is a dynamic thing. आज ये बोला कल कुछ और बोल देगा तो फंस जाऊंगा मैं.
It is as well.
But yeah. Any more questions?
Thank you for the question. Yes.
Thank you, Lalanji. I think Prathamesh has covered all the points which at least we can ponder on, that if we want to take Zoho or not, at least that must be known now. And he's taken through all the modules mostly, so we know how to gauge if we can take the projects on Zoho. And Zoho mainly people are using where the accounting is done for US clients, and because so that they can also US and UK clients, because they are using more of Zoho and it is cost effective. Then for Indians, I think Tally is still an option, but Zoho has many modules which are, which bypass Tally. So if you want analytics and the dashboard versions, and also Zoho is very good, it seems like. So thank you, Prathamesh, for taking us through all the modules of Zoho and enlightening us on so many options which are there. So I request you all to please carry a round of applause for him. We have a